As I navigate through education, I've always thought to myself, the one thing that I hate the most is when somebody says, can't do something, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a student, whether it's a leader. Because in reality, if you can't do it, why are you here?
Walk in, chest great, we don't play. Staff talk sharp like a quiz on a Monday. Whiteboard wars, yeah, we grade all day. If you can't take that heat, stay out the hallway. Hey, this is the staff room. Say it loud, say it loud. The staff room.
Let's get into it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the staff room. I am Dr. Matos, and I appreciate all of you for returning. Today we're going to take a look at a video by ex-Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Pardon the interruption, team. Currently, only 16% of those viewing my videos are subscribed to the channel. We are currently on a journey to 100 subscribers. At that time, we'll have a subscriber celebration live stream where you can interact with me, watch some funny content, and enjoy each other as a community. I'm excited to hear what you all think about the channel and how we can grow as a community. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you when we hit 100. Now, I've always been the person to say that you have to get answers from places other than where the question lies, not just where the question lies. So you have to look at things outside of the realm in which you are in to be able to identify the best possible answer or the most applicable answer that you can. The one thing that I hate and I hear all the time, and I always shake my head or cringe when I hear it, is when somebody says, oh, they can't learn, or, oh, they won't do this. I can't do that. For example, leaders, if you have teachers that aren't going to do anything, that's your job. Accountability is your job. To sit there and say, oh, they don't do that, that's a problem. You need to be better. As an educator, the same thing. If you get a student and that student struggles and you sit there and tell yourself, oh, I can't teach them, they just won't learn. They can't learn. That bothers me. And it should bother you too. And students, listen, if you have a teacher or even a parent and you just say, they won't do it, they can't, if it's always an excuse, you really got to look into in the mirror and think about what it is that you want in life and how best you're going to get there. Because creating excuses isn't going to work. Now, particularly with teachers and administrators, I've heard this far too much and I'm sick of hearing it. I've always been the person that stands in a doorway and says, I don't care what walks in my door. I don't care what walks in my office. I'm going to teach them. I'm going to lead them. I'm going to guide them, and I'm going to inspire them. And sometimes that process hurts. But if I sit back and just surrender, why am I here? This is the same thing that we should all be thinking as educators. And Mike Tomlin, I think in this case, he's speaking to coaching specifically. He puts it out there in a manner far better than I can myself. So if you're not going to listen to me, listen to him. Let's check it out.
Fight the daily struggle of managing both components of what it is that we do.
That's what makes you great.
I hope so.
It does, because you have to micromanage a lot of men, a lot of kids, a lot of guys that will come in here that you're depending on to help your team.
I'm gonna cut you off because I laugh at that all the time. Management, right? Like, that's what the hell we paid to do. Mm-hmm. We put together a strategy relative to those that we compete against. We try to bring out the best in the collective, right? And in an effort to do so, we better manage the collective and the individuals within the collective. I love to hear coaches resist the responsibility of coaching.
What'd you say, Coach?
Because they're easy to beat.
What'd you just say, Coach?
I love that.
I love coaches.
I love that because it makes so much more sense than you think. In so many instances, you have leaders, and especially in schools, that don't want to lead because they're afraid of the pushback. They're afraid of losing, right? You have teachers that are afraid to lead in their classroom because they're afraid of the parents. They're afraid of what those parents are going to do. So there's been so many instances that I've seen where where teachers and leaders would just say, you know what, it's not even worth it. That parent, I don't feel like dealing with that parent. That's part of your job. You got to shake them up. That parent has been in charge for so long, they haven't met anybody like you. So you have to be that person that sits them down and says, what's our goal? Well, our goal is for John to be as well versed in life and in education as possible. Right. So you're not helping that goal, or you're not helping us get there by behaving the way you're behaving. And you have to, that's part of your job, is pointing that out to them and getting good at that pushback, and then navigating that pushback. That's part of what you do.
That resist the responsibility of coaches, that talk negatively about a dude that can't learn and blah, blah. Man, if everybody could learn, we need less coaches.
Yeah, that's real.
Right?
We're dealing with that right now. Excuse me. I just keep muting my microphone. We're dealing with that right now because right now the government thinks everybody can learn. The government wants to put AI everywhere and just have that just teach your kid. It's not going to work because that interpersonal communication is far more important than the resources that you place in front of your child. How do I know? Because I've taught and led and worked at both ends of the spectrum, a resource-rich environment and a non-resource rich environment. And the instruction was far more rich and impactful at the environment in this case that didn't have the resources. Let's continue.
Vows and somebody's talking about anything other than pedigree, talking about how poor somebody's hand usage is. Well, that's coaching. Right. I don't run away from coaching. I run to coaching.
Love it.
It all is in line with that not seeking comfort, because when you're a coach that's talking about somebody can't learn, you're seeking comfort because your teaching is struggling.
Yep.
Wow.
And that's what I mean right there. We have to be honest with ourselves as leaders and educators. If things aren't working the way we need them to work, you're just giving an excuse because you're struggling at one of those two positions, right? If you're an educator, then you're struggling in that field because somebody is having trouble learning and you're not addressing that. The thing about being a teacher is a lot like being a doctor. And I love the pushback that I'm going to get for this. Why? Because you have to take in a client, which is the child. You have to assess the client, which is your exam. You have to diagnose the deficiency, which is your diagnosis. And then you have to remediate, which is your treatment. It's very simple. So if you can't do that, you're struggling in your practice. You have to get better. Leaders, same exact thing. If you don't want to hold somebody accountable because you're afraid of losing them, they're not yours anyway. You're struggling in your practice. They have to be reinforced. They have to be motivated. They have to be held accountable. And you cannot be afraid of losing them because you have to be more confident in your skills to develop new teachers. But you cannot allow poor practice to infect your culture. Because one poor teacher with a poor attitude is going to manifest themselves into 14 very quickly. They're going to get into the ears of the other teachers. They're going to say, you don't have to put up with that. Tell them to take them out your class, kick them out of this. They shouldn't do all of these poor practices. Because in this world, negativity travels faster than positivity. You have to put your foot down as a leader. You have to do your job.
You probably do have a talent for understanding people, but is it a talent? It's not. Like, it's listening when they talking. For real.
Listening is extremely important. Extremely important.
His mouth to stop moving.
That's what I was just trying to say.
I sensed that as a player, and I hated it. And so I just try to be what I wanted leading me. And so when dudes are talking, I listen. And I listen for real.
He makes another great point. Again, take all of this information, apply it to your practice, no matter where you are, really. He wants to lead like the same person that he wanted leading himself. I'm sorry if I messed that up. It's kind of a tongue twister. That's what I do, but it's the truth. You have to close your mouth first and foremost as a leader, and you have to listen. As an educator, the same thing. You have to shut your mouth. You can't diagnose a problem, whether it's social, educational, whatever it is, if you continue to talk and tell them what the problem is. You have to listen first. In all occasions, that's what we do. We just talk, 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 talk. Just like I'm doing now. Just talk, 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 talk. Close your mouth and listen to what somebody's being said. When I approach a situation, let's say, for example, I don't know, the easiest situation right now is behavior. So let's talk about behavior. If I have a kid that's blowing up and I address that behavior, the first thing I do is I walk in in the most non-threatening manner possible. And I just look at them and I say, you seem like you feel however they feel. And I would love to know why. And I'm ready to listen. So as soon as you're ready to talk, I'll listen. And I sit down and I wait. That wait duration never is more than a minute. They automatically get to talking, and then I kick out everybody else that's been in the room because now I just want them to know I want to listen. By the time they're done with talking, they're going to tell you everything you need to know about how to fix the situation. But no other people can satisfy that because behavior is such a big thing in our class because they don't shut their mouth. Just be quiet.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to produce action that's in alignment with what they want. But listen, I try to keep it real simple, and it's difficult to do, obviously, because it's a lot of variables at play and stuff. And this is ball at its highest level and all of that and all that comes with it. But it's still ball. Right. So and I recognize his whole thing was don't insult his intelligence. Yeah. But if you're going to lead men, you got to know them, right? You got to know them. And you better know that about this dude. Shoot him straight. Don't insult his intelligence. And he'll do the rest. But we make the simple complex. Right. This dude needs information.
That's huge because we do that all the time. We make the simple complex. Leaders, if you're going to lead, you have to know the people you're leading. Here's a perfect example. Right before COVID, I've always been a very healthy guy. I was a triathlete for quite some time. And right before COVID, I was doing well, but I was feeling a little off, right? So long story short, I had gotten a diagnosis of an immune disorder that attacked my muscles, and I had to be put on it was 3 different steroids, and I just blew up during COVID. I wasn't at school. I wasn't teaching. It was online, right? So I just blew up. Got to work and I walked in, and the particular diagnosis that I had, first off, it attacks your eyes, your lungs, and then your arms and your legs. So I lost vision in one of my eyes, so I had an eye patch on. I left at 200. I'm 6'9", so it was 240 pounds. I came back at 315 pounds, and nobody said a thing. They just talked. And my principal and assistant principal at the time, more so my assistant principal, my principal was kind of in his own deal, but I always knew he cared, but nobody asked me if I was okay. Never. It wasn't until after a 6-hour IVIG when I came in and almost passed out that anybody asked me anything. Mind you, they had me running around like crazy, and I barely had control over my muscles. I never told them that, but you could look and tell. As a leader, you have to be able to see that and say, are you okay to do this? What can I do? I get there's a lot of people, but that's part of your role. Most people are going to tell you, no, I'm fine, everything's okay, or whatever. But sometimes people got to get things off their chest. I was there because I just went how many years without being able to do anything, and I needed to do something. So when I came in and I was running around like a maniac and trying to, help people because I was still a leader, help people and do all these things, and you're making it harder on me and not even asking me if I'm okay. How do you think that makes you look as a leader? And then I had this assistant principal, she deserves a video on herself because I owe her this one. She didn't know me from a can of paint. But what she did know is she thought it was funny that my eye didn't function. She thought it was funny that I was extremely overweight and sweating all the time constantly. She didn't want to hear the fact that I was on 3 different steroids that damaged my hormones so bad that I just profusely sweated all the time and had headaches all the time and was extremely emotional all the time. And then when she seen a picture of me 2 years prior, because we were out for about 2 years, she thought that was funny, laughed in my face. I'll never forget this woman because I'm coming after her. As a leader, you have to know the people that you're with and you have to know what motivates them, what they're going through. A lot of the times people get so wrapped up in their own feelings that they don't care about the people around them. They pretend like they do, or maybe in their own heads they do, but they don't really care about them. You got to be better as a leader. And as teachers, you have to be better at knowing your kids. I've seen too many instances where teachers are punishing kids for doing things they shouldn't be doing in class, when in reality, they just haven't eaten for 3 days or they've been homeless for a week. You have to be better.
Don't insult his intelligence.
Yeah.
But if you're going to lead men, you got to know them, right? You got to know them. And you better know that about this dude. Shoot him straight. Don't insult his intelligence. And he'll do the rest. But like, we make the simple complex. Right. Like I've said before, man, we make the simple complex in this business, don't we?
Yeah.
We overthink things. We insulate ourselves with infrastructure in the effort to feel good about the decisions that we make because we're scared.
Right.
I like the transparency and the clarity in which we work, because more than anything, you know, it lets me know that we feel like we are capable and we are not scared.
That goes to trust and transparency. You have a track record that shows that, even when your players buying in and willing to do whatever for it.
In my book, I discuss this a lot. As a leader, you have to have transparency first and you establish trust second. Why? Because trust comes from being transparent. My book, How School Leaders Motivate Teachers in Real Classrooms, we discuss perception-based leadership, which is what my research is primarily in. And you can't get a positive perception of the decisions that you're making and the processes that you're putting in place if you're not transparent about the reasons why we're doing it, right? That's a part of the reason that why we struggle right now with government. Doesn't matter who the president is, doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. We struggle trusting our government because they're not transparent about the policies that they're putting in place. Neither side. So as a leader, we have to continue to do that. And then once that transparency once that transparency is expected and it's consistent, then that trust comes into play. Then the people that you lead are going to go above and beyond for you, because they know that every decision that they make, every stroke of their pencil, every time that you ask them to do a little bit more, it's all to get you to the final goal, which is a successful establishment as a whole. Students, teachers, leaders.
I'm pretty sure it's the same with the ownership, the people in the front office, that you're not going to jeopardize the organization for as successful as you guys have been.
They know I'm going to give it back, bro.
Right.
They know I'm going to give it back. Whatever I got to give, they're going to get.
Right.
I don't have any problem fighting for that dude, because I know he's going to fight for us.
You never want to have problems fighting. As a leader, and I say this all the time, you have to be fearless in your approach, and your teachers need to know that you're fearless. Don't you ever back down for a fight when it comes to your team. And don't you ever back down for a fight as a teacher when it comes to your kids.
Buying in and willing to do whatever for you. I'm pretty sure it's the same with the ownership, the people in the front office, that you're not going to jeopardize the organization for as successful as you guys have been.
They know I'm going to give it back, bro.
Right.
They know I'm going to give it back. Whatever I got to give, they're going to get.
Right.
I don't have any problem fighting for that dude, because I know he's going to fight for us. And maybe the reason he fights for us is because he knows that we're going to fight for him. But, like, that's relationships. That's life. Somebody got to be all in for everybody to be all in. And so when you're in a position of leadership, man, shouldn't you own the initial component of that?
Right.
I'm going to be willing to show you before I expect you to reciprocate.
Right.
I'm in a position of leadership in the relationship. And so I just think that's my mindset. I'm open to intimacy, but at the same time, I realize that I'm not going to have intimate relationships with everybody. Everybody don't want intimate relationships with me. Everybody not comfortable with intimate relationships with me.
That's
but
true as
everybody
well.
knows I'm open.
Not everybody wants to be known.
Some
Not
people
everybody
take
wants to
advantage of
talk.
it.
But you have to be great at understanding it.
Something that's cool, that's beyond our professional relationship, that lasts a lifetime, like me and my bro right here. But it doesn't always come to that, and it doesn't have to. But as a leader, I better let it be known that I'm open.
Right.
because you can't do ordinary stuff, man, and expect unique results. That don't make sense. We can't have ordinary relationships. I coach, you play, do this, good job, bad job, and expect like the end of our journey for the confetti to be raining down on us. Nah, man, what we chasing is scarcity to that. Like, it's scarcity to that. And so you better be willing to do unique things in order to expect unique results. And that's just life. And so I'm always like,
And that's the biggest thing. Before we wrap up this video, is that we have to understand that in the position that we are in, we are expected to close gaps. And as leaders, we're expected to maintain or build an institution, right? Which is also just closing gaps. But in order to do that, you can't just bring the same expectation and do the same thing. If you're going to be successful as a teacher with a class of kids where you have 5 that are coming that you know have been a problem, you have to do something extraordinary. And what sucks, and this is the reason why it's such a topic right now about teachers getting what they deserve, is because you have to do that every single year. You have to be extraordinary. You have to come up with new solutions to the same problems, but with different people. And as a leader, it's the same thing. You can't come into a school that's failing with the same expectation with the district mandated best practice and think you're going to be great. And districts, you have to understand that you need something new. You can't bring somebody in from a whole nother state who's successful at that state and expect them to do what you're telling them to do, which got them the failing grade in the first place. They're going to bring something else in, and you have to allow them to be innovative. We've lost that. To wrap up this video, I just want to say this, that as an educator, as a leader, you have to make sure that you're aware of yourself and your shortcoming, because ultimately that's what it comes down to. Being great just comes down to self-reflection and understanding what you're great at, and then building that, or as a leader, surrounding yourself with people that are great at those aspects that you were weak at. It should never be a thing to come out and say, I can't teach this person, I can't lead this person, because that's literally your job. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go ahead over to follow me on TikTok. Remember, share the video. It helps the information get to the people that want to see it. It supports the channel, and it helps us to grow as a community. Hope to see you at the next one. Thanks for coming over to the staff room.
Walk in, chance great, we don't play. Staff